I conducted this review using the PC version of the game, and a big thanks to Paradox for providing me with a copy of the game for the sake of review. Star Kings is the third and possibly final expansion for Age of Wonders Planetfall. If you don't know, Planetfall is a fantastic 4X game with a large focus on tactical combat. Star Kings features a new faction called the Oathbound, a faction of honor-bound paladins who walk around in giant Gundam-style mech suits. You could say that the Oathbound have the power of God and anime on their side. Star Kings brings 2 new campaign missions for the Oathbound, new powerful landmarks called Grail configurations, and a host of new wildlife units to contend with. Releasing alongside Star Kings is the Triceratops Patch, which is available to everyone for free whether or not you purchase Star Kings. This bears mentioning because the update introduces a Galactic Empire mode that is a complete game changer for Planetfall. I will be talking a bit about it, it's too large to ignore, but it won't affect the score for Star Kings itself. The campaigns featured in previous expansions always showcased the newest features found in that expansion, and Star Kings is no different. The absolute best way to get your feet wet with Star King's new features is to play through it. It introduces you to the new Oathbound faction, the Grail configurations, and wildlife units. Planetfall has always had a strange kind of humor. It's a fairly serious game, but occasionally it throws an oddball at you, like the anthropomorphic space pirates found in the Invasions expansion. Star King seems to have toned it down a bit, but you still get the occasional rib tickler in the campaign. Meeting people like Harold the Potter reminds you that it is indeed still Planetfall. The campaign itself is solid, if pretty straightforward. It does a good job of getting you up to speed with who the Oathbound are and their culture. The story itself is a pretty interesting one that treads ground where the other ones didn't, even though I saw the twist coming well in advance. The Oathbound are pretty much the quintessential good guys in Planetfall. You can go rogue and be a warmonger, but you get bonuses for having a good reputation. The Oathbound are a very interesting splice of medieval fantasy holy paladins and kaiju-crushing mechs, a combination that I didn't know I wanted, but I totally did. On the strategy side, Oathbound heroes can become lords of different settlements, imparting bonuses to them while they are within that settlement's borders. The lower tier aspirant unit is on the weaker side, despite possessing Quick Strike, but they can be elevated to higher tier units through a special strategical operation. Both of these features feel really cool, thematic, and powerful. In battle, the paladins charge in with powerful mechs and are supported by the seer units. The Oathbound have a strong melee focus, so much so that some of their giant mechs can swat flying units with their melee weapons. The Seers, on the other hand, alongside some upgrades and operations, like to rip the RNG from the game. You can impart a guaranteed critical hit with some abilities, force an enemy to fumble an attack, or even negate the first attack to hit a unit altogether using precognition. I can't overstate how powerful that is. The Oathbound are pretty strong on their own, but using the in-universe ability to see the future to mechanically force the RNG out of key attacks is insanely powerful, and it's fun. Yet I never really felt that it was broken either, simply because the Oathbound do have weaknesses. They have a tendency to clump up to take advantage of the fact that they can shield one another. Most of their offensive units are weak to arc damage, and it can be difficult to get good combinations on the Oathbound since they rely so heavily on battlesuits, which are usually heavy and vehicles. On the flip side, Oathbound heroes get access to the same battlesuits and even unique ones, which is super cool, and it makes the Oathbound heroes feel unique. It is somewhat disappointing that the Oathbound are human. The universe is literally the limit for alien races, and with the addition of Star Kings, 4 of the factions are purely human, and another one is cyborg humans.
Operations ready.
I'm not unhappy with the Oathbound. In fact, they may have replaced the Vanguard as my favorite race. Yes, my favorite race was literally the plainest humans possible, and I'm a hypocrite. I just feel like there were so many other things that we could have seen other than more humans. The Seer units bother me. There are multiple tiers of these units, but their appearance doesn't really change that much. So I've played as the Oathbound a lot, and I still get them confused. I have to click them and see what abilities they have. I can't tell at a glance. The mechs, on the other hand, look awesome. Grails are a new and very rare landmark that is generally the end result of a special quest chain. There are multiple types of Grails, and if one appears, it's a mad dash to claim it, because they impart extremely powerful bonuses. They are yet another factor that can put a spin on any given match, enhancing Planetfall's already staggering replay value. Star Kings also adds 3 new types of wildlife units: the Mycelians, which is farm machinery that has been taken over by sentient fungus, the Dark Paladin Apostates, and the Psionica, which are living crystals that drain life force. You fight a lot of wildlife in Planetfall, so there's never a situation where more variety is a bad thing. Each of the 3 types have unique strengths, weaknesses, and styles. I love the Apostate take on Chaos Magic, where they deal a random damage type when they attack you. The Grails and wildlife are welcome additions to the game, even if they aren't particularly groundbreaking. The free Triceratops Patch introduces Empire Mode, a feature so significant it nearly dwarfs the entire expansion itself. Essentially, you make an empire that can consist of a variety of factions. Then your progression within the mode continues between different matches. You choose from a variety of planets to conquer, all of which have random traits. These could be anything from penguin hives to 2 warring Devar factions. Not only does this affect that particular game, but it can also hold new viable win conditions, and it influences what you earn post-game. Your commander and heroes levels carry over, but you also have a new currency called Renown that you can spend during the match. Conquering a planet with the aforementioned penguin hive will allow you to spend Renown to bring in some wildlife units. There are a ton of relics like that. Furthermore, you level up different factions in your empire, which allows you to choose some units, mods, and operations from it that you can later use in a match. You could, for example, bring some Vanguard units while you're playing the Oathbound. This grants you a wide variety of synergies that would be impossible otherwise. Yet, I can't help but feel that the expansion itself is a little light. The first expansion for Planetfall featured a new secret tech and NPC faction. The second one brought a new faction and NPC faction. Star Kings brings forth the Oathbound faction, but no secret tech nor NPC faction, and it feels a little bit empty. It leaves a void that the Grails and new wildlife units can't fill. Don't get me wrong, the Oathbound are worth the purchase. And honestly, the developer or Paradox could have stuffed the Galactic Empire mode into Star Kings instead of giving it away for free, and they would have been well within the right to do so. So I'm hesitant to complain, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little disappointed anyway. Regardless, the Oathbound faction is incredibly cool, fun to play, and brings another unique playstyle to the game. Star Kings is a powerful final act for the elegant beast of a game that we call Age of Wonders Planetfall. Previous fans would be doing themselves a disservice by missing out on it. To recap, the pros. The fantastic new faction combining sightseeing seers with big honkin' mech suits. A solid campaign showcasing all of the new features. Grail configurations add another degree of unpredictability and replay value. The new wildlife units spice up the PvE combat. The Galactic Empire mode included in the free patch is so awesome I can't believe it's free, even if you don't buy Star Kings. The cons. The Oathbound is another faction of humans, which is lame. All of the Seer units look very similar. The expansion feels like it's lacking content, even if the free patch makes up for it. I give Star Kings an 8.5 out of 10. This is the first video I've made for a Planetfall game or expansion, but I have actually reviewed the base game and every other expansion. You can find the written reviews of those games on my website at gideonsgaming.com. And I've also got a new creator store, and I have placed Planetfall products in it. The base game and the expansions are there. And basically my creator store is a store that I handpick games that I've personally reviewed and curated. And if you buy it, you get the game, and you directly support me, the channel, the website, and the content. I'll leave a link to both the creator store and my website in the description below, so I highly suggest, if you found this review helpful or interesting, that you check them out. Thanks for watching, and until next time.